Hello everybody, my name's Aisha and these are my takeaways from the 5 online readings that we did over these past couple of weeks. So the first one that we talked about in class was the strategic communication imperative. Our key takeaways on that reading assignment. I feel like it's our job to make sure we have a seat at the decision-making table and we can adequately create communication strategies that go along with our business's long-term goals. And so yeah, communication is a big part of that, and if our organization is not already aware of that, then it's our job to make them aware. So another really good takeaway from this is that communication has to be integrated in order for it to be successful. The way that you communicate with external audiences needs to be the same throughout every sector of your organization. Internally, you should be able to communicate with each other. I mean, all of it has to be integrated, and the strategies that you are putting in place through communication has to be understood by all audiences in order for it to be successful. Last, we as communication professionals have to have a wide range of management skills in order to foster strategic communication within organizations, because it's one thing to have the knowledge about all of the communication strategies that we have to employ in order to be successful. It's another thing entirely to be able to know those things and tell people how to do them, to lead people in those strategies, and to share that with different sectors of an organization. And in order to do that, you need a wide range of skills in management. The next one, underestimating the power of communication. I mean, as someone who works in a nonprofit organization, the first paragraph of this reading is all too true. It can be really, really difficult to look at communication in a more broad spectrum, because a lot of the time we use communication as a marketing tool and we use it to reach out to people or to stay connected with our board members, yada yada yada, but that's about as far as it goes. There's no deep long-term strategic planning there, and I feel like, that's something that can be addressed. One thing that was mentioned in the positioning article was that impressions determine attitude and behavior. They have to think that you're awesome, and so positioning has a lot to do with perception. And I feel like that was a really, really good point that this article made. In the article called The Role of Brand in the Nonprofit Sector, strategic branding can drive broad, long-term social goals while strengthening internal identity, cohesion, and capacity. This is a lot of words all strung together, and basically what I get from it is branding can not only help you with your identity outside of your organization, but it can also create a clear, concise message that people internally understand and reiterate. The second takeaway was the nonprofit brand idea, which stands for integrity, democracy, ethics, and affinity. And I think this is a really, really good basis for how to brand strategically. If a branding statement contributes to your structural integrity, it's great. It has to create democracy among all stakeholders, audience members, internally and externally. It can't just be one idea. It has to be many, especially in our social climate right now. It has to be many, but they all have to be cohesive. And affinity, which basically means that you make a good partner. Your brand is not going to overshadow another person's brand. You can stay your brand while also be partnering with other brands, and your brand is strong enough that it will hold its own. And I thought that was really important. The 8-word mission statement article was very, very useful to me, especially when I was creating my own mission statement. And I feel like a few of the takeaways from that is that mission statements that cut to the chase and don't mess around with crazy verbiage do best when you're trying to communicate to shareholders or really anyone in general. 8 words or less, which is kind of wild, But then when you actually sit down and start putting those words together, you understand that 8 words or less isn't really that big of a deal if you know what your company's about or if you know what you're about. One thing that really helped me in creating my mission statement was the statement that this article made saying that clear mission statements indicate what, not how. A lot of people will tend to try to include how they want to do stuff and how they want to accomplish all these goals, but that's not what the mission statement is. It's what's your goal. That's it. Yeah, those are my key takeaways.